Yeah, another factor of change and navigating change in organizations is around communication, right? And the way that leadership and management handles communicating changes throughout the organization, because you have to obtain people's buy-in, which means that it's so important for organizations to be transparent, right? And to be clear and intentional about the way that they're communicating changes and things down the line. Because, you know, if you don't give people an opportunity, for example, right, to like voice their opinions or ask questions or clarify and, you know, or voice their concerns, a lot of times the result of that is that like you won't get buy-in from people and they'll make it harder for you. And of course, like on a scalable level, it depends if you have 25,000 employees or you have 50 employees. But either way, with intention to be like, let's be as transparent as possible. Let's bring people into the conversation as soon as possible. Like, let's be clear about not just what's happening, but why. What's the intent behind the decision? Because if you have buy-in from people, they're less likely to be resistant and reluctant. And like, you know, it's another case for having positive, great culture, right? And a culture of mindset where people are open and receptive to change and they don't see it as like a threat, and they're not as resistant or reluctant to it. But it's important to know that like that's an element of human beings and how they interact. So make sure that you're giving people an opportunity to like voice concerns or whatever, and just being clear and transparent about how you communicate down the line. And there's another kind of side factor of that I want to talk about that also has to do with communication that happens in a lot of organizations, and that is around like middle level management, where leadership, you know, on high, this like change or this decision is made and brought down, but there's a very enticing, intoxicating thing for like a store manager or like middle level management to do, which is to get their team on their side by being like, oh yeah, they want us to do this thing now and do this like us versus them, of like us versus leadership. And that it is so dangerous to have that happen, that dynamic, where a manager or somebody like that's in charge of distributing that information, right, or communicating that change, takes the opportunity to make themselves look good and make the company look bad, right, and gain the favor of their employees by being like, oh yeah, it's us versus them, of like, I don't know why they want us to do that. Like, that is so dangerous for people. Like, if I'm an employee on the team, why would I buy in, right? It's such a, like, and that happens a lot of times in organizations, but it's so important in that, right, that we have integrity around those things. And I think that's also just, it taps into the importance of having culture and like the way people show up with integrity and like how we communicate, that we make each other look good, all that stuff. But that's another factor of communicating change in an organization that is so important to like focus in on that and do that right.